Alright, kind of want to give everybody a chance to look at a 35 kilo. This can kind of be a broad summary here. Might splice a couple tapes together of how our little roaster here operates. This unit right here is a PLC controlled unit. Has an optional green loader with the system. To load the green coffee. Also we have a destoner with the system to the destone. Machine right here, we also have it set up to be able to operate in a semi-automatic operation. Noise level might be a little bit loud down there. I'll introduce myself in a minute. I'm Dan Jolliffe. It's pretty much the same system. It can be done on anything from as small as a 12 kilo and up to through our 150 kilo coffee roaster. Generally, most of the touch screens are set up pretty much like this one right here. Right here's on a free stand. It can be moved around and be positioned pretty well anywhere you want the touch screen to be for your operations. Right now, we'll take a little look at the manual screen. The roaster's heating up. I'm going to go on back and you see we can control the exhaust fan. We can control set point temperatures, gas valve. We can run the afterburner on or off as needed. We have an afterburner valve setting for how high the afterburner can go. All these are as easy touchscreen. Bring it up, set it, turn it on off. In the manual mode, we can operate the cooling stir if we need to, or we can turn on the fan. We pretty well do all operations on the roaster. We have a roaster quench, a cyclone quench. A little wind in the background today. We turn the stoner on and off. We have a cooler discharge gate when the roaster can be operated. Well, pretty well you could run the roaster from this screen right here, what they call the manual screen, pretty much as a manual roaster. Just give you a little bit maybe for more precise tuning of the machine. We give you the air temperature, cyclone temp, afterburner temp, and a bean temp, all those controllable from this screen. This is without going to profiler mode. The roaster is equipped with air cylinders right here, and they're controlled to adjust the easy operation of air cylinders on and off. If you do not have air, you can still operate the gates all by hand. Kind of get this one set up here in the shop here, kind of look backwards. We have side glass also to show you how many beans are loaded in the hopper. Roaster is all direct drive. You don't have any changer belts on the machine. We furnish also on the roasters. Most of these options too are pretty much on even our standard roasters that are not PLC controlled. We furnish both gas valves, so you can see how much gas pressure you have incoming, how much is actually going to the burner. We have a burner viewport on the roaster, which allows you to take a peek at your burner and see how you're set up and running. This is the chafe collector getting out here. Chafe collector has an upper door and a lower door cleaning out the chafe. The upper door just allow you for easier cleaning. Here we got a kind of temporary install here to demonstrate a roast of a coffee. The fan outlet will be sized for what the customer needs for their piping. So we've got side panels here on the roaster to allow you to take the covers off and clean up around the burners if needed. The 35 kilo uses twin cast iron burners or can use a power burner setup. Nice, easy to clean out door. To clean out at the end of the day of roasting for any chafe or anything that come loose from under the drum. Cooler has dual clean outs on it also on both sides. Even the stoner, as shown on the other side, has a clean out door on it. The stoner has airflow adjustable for lift right here on this model. Also the velocity right here. Plus we have a gate that controls how fast the coffee will be able to suck up the stoner, so you control the speed of it. This stoner right here is for 35 kilo. It can be equipped with a variable speed control, or it can be set pretty much with just a single speed control motor on it, and you'll adjust the airflow by the damper. Blower loader is quite simple blower loader. Just drop the coffee in top. I've got some more rough beans in here I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to throw these into the loader and let them load in the roaster. Excuse me for the video, but that's kind of the way the video cameras work for us. Not the best. Anyway, go in this roaster right here to demonstrate. We're probably going to run this right here in a profile mode. I'm going to go ahead and load the roaster. I'll do that right here on this screen right here. I'll go ahead and just go back here into the components. Everything's off it needs to be. I'm going to turn the green loader on. It only takes the green loader on the roaster. See a little dust blowing out of this one. It's one of the green loaders. Got a pipe on the outside. This is some pretty low-cost coffee I've got just used for testing here in the shop. It's got some floaters in it and different types of odd beans in it. But it's pretty whole. It'll roast all right. You have side glass to get the coffee loaded into the destoner. Now we have vacuum systems also, a little bit less cost. I just prefer really the blower loaders because the longevity of the motors and the fact that parts is available close to your local ranges. While that's loading, we can go ahead and go over here to our profile screen. We'll call it auto. Auto screen status, go to auto screen. Here we are right here, I'm going to select the profile. Right now it's on test full auto, for example, which is the test mode we had in it. Two or three different profiles in here we've been playing with. You can either do by profile number or by name. What I'm going to select now is something called Dan 20. It'll tell me about my discharge temperature by 120. I have to be at least 150 degrees for out to start. That's adjustable. All these are adjustable on the profile screen. I'm going to start the gas valve at 20 and the fan at 20. Very low output, very soft and easy for us as to start a roaster. Go back to component screen, notice the green loader is on. Now the Afterburner is running on automatic mode, which I'll show you later. We currently do not have the Afterburner hooked up, but the Afterburner is actually controlled by the bean temperature. Also, the Afterburner has a delay setting in it too, which will turn off the Afterburner after so long after the green door has been open while it's waiting for you to charge for the next roast. I'm going to go back. It's waiting for profile. I'm going to say confirm profile. And now we come up and it says ready for beans. We've already loaded the beans in the roaster, so we're going to hit start roast. This model right here is kind of what I call a semi roaster, so you actually have to, on the components, go ahead and drop the green coffee on it, on the green loader, green gate, right here. This can be automated further if you so desire. You hear a little rumbling, this little coffee is pretty dirty. It's not the roaster, I assure you. Probably some of the dirt that's in the roaster. That loaded in. We're going to close that green hopper gate. There we go. We'll go back to what we call the auto mode. Those are flashing lights that are changing on the machine as we're operating. Now we're on what we call the auto roasting screen. It's telling you how long we've been in the roast. Right here, roast time duration, how long it's been roasting, the profile number again, set point temperature, or what it's looking for. The burner actually was turned off until it got to the 300 degrees. Then it's going to kick on the burner and allow the burner to go up to 22% and the fan at 30% until we start getting this roast on down the road. I'm going to go back here. You got a recess menu here. Kind of tells you different resets of the roasters. Trips are all clear right now. It's telling us there's no resets on the machine. We have a manual temp overset, which would mean something like the overload on the burner back here, a burner blower coming off the roaster drum right here. We have a sensor. This including all models also, which tells us how hot that the fan is getting. If the fan sprout is getting too hot, it can actually shut down the roaster and turn on the water quench if we so desires. Down in here also we have a pressure switch. The pressure switch right here actually adjusts checks the airflow through the fan to ensure that the fan is running. It's a dual safety. Down here you notice we're barely off the bottom on our burner output. And we have plenty of gas pressure in here, around about 9.5 inches. Javier, would you make sure that water line is turned in over there so we'll have quench when we need it? So we'll walk on back around here a little bit. Right now there's no trips present. A PLC over temp is some settings that we have in the roaster. It would be like, for example, we have the airflow too hot, there's a set for that. The drum temperature is too hot, there's a set for that. And there's several different things in there that can be set. Afterburner resets are the same way. Afterburner over temperature, the afterburner right now, like I say, is not currently hooked up. It's got the thermal couple hooked up. We might even hear it clicking a little bit, let us know the afterburner is running. What the afterburner can be done from here is you can actually see if you have a trip, or a trip would be that like the afterburner went low on pressure or power or went to over temperature. And it would come up on the screen and tell you that you had a problem with your afterburner. Component resets are like on all these right here, be a drum motor, exhaust fan, cooling stirrer, the cooling fan, the stoner, green loader, thermocouples inoperable. All this is reported to the screen. If you have any motor starter in the unit that has a trip, it will be reported back to the screen that lets you know that you have a problem on the roaster. Also, it will flash the red light and set off the buzzer. You'll notice about everyone's screen see a little fire button. I'm not going to use the fire button. It's really all the fire button does is it turns off the fans on the roaster and turns on the quenching on both the Chase Cyclone and the coffee roaster's drum. And that is to help you control a fire if you had one. Going back here, hit back again. Here's our manual screen right here, kind of showing you where everything's at. We're still auto roasting. Pretty much every screen you'll notice you got temperatures like bean temperature, air temperature, cyclone temperature, all reported. We do it right here. I don't know how good it's going to show up on the camera. Right here is our screens that show you the different temperatures. Also show you different fan speeds, what the fan is set for. This machine, by the way, can also be hooked up. It's a small option where it can be also hooked to your desktop computer, so you can save all this stuff on your desktop. You can load files and edit files from your desktop, and pretty well monitor the roaster and keep track of just hundreds of thousands of profiles if so desired from your desktop with a standard computer connection. The computer also can be set with phone modem, which can be used also for us to help troubleshoot the PLC. Now here's your regular status screen right here. I've always kind of liked the screen. Some people don't care much about it, but kind of tell me where my gas valve's at, my afterburner valve setting. It's set for that even though it's not running. Afterburner temperature and current cyclone temperature. Also here we've got air temperature on the roaster, bean temperature, cyclone temp. Again. I'm going back to the auto screen. Right now on the auto screen we're not showing a whole lot here, but once again we're at 510 and our roast time duration. We're shooting for a set point of 350. Right now we're at 319. Now how this works is also how far I got the gas valve set up to. I got the gas valve set to a point where I set the profile, it will always be shooting for the temperature and it's not going to overrun. We'll go here and walk around here and show a couple other things here too. On our destoners, there's questions about those at times. Our destoners, excuse us, not being painted yet. This machine's going to be shipping here in a few days. This is a clean out that's on the destoners. It allows you to get in there and clean out the felt fiber blanket that's in the destoner. The beans are sucked up, of course, through the bottom of the destoner coming out of the roaster. They're sucked up to the destoner with the airflow control both back here. There's a damper down the bottom, controls how fast the beans come in, and also we have the control in the air up here. Notice the slope of the tube, which is what allows the beans to softly jetson into the destoner chamber and hit the blanket, then drop down into the capacity. The destoners pretty much are the size we quoted them to be. I've had an occasion of a couple people to order a roaster, and they wanted the stoner to hold 2 loads. If that is your need, please let us know so we can set the stoner for that. Sight glass on the stoner. This is a simple discharge gate to discharge this one. The stoner is also on a fully automated roaster. They can't have air gates on them, so the stoner will automatically discharge. Back here, we're starting to develop a little smoke coming out of the roaster, out of our little temp piping. Also want to show you still on the chafe collector. The chafe collector, like we're saying, it has a thermal couple on it also. Also, which is not hooked up in here, is a water line, so in case if the temperature in the chafe collector gets higher than what's set up on the roaster, it can actually turn on the quenching in the chafe collector and cool down the chafe collector. We might have fire buttons, but for legal reasons, once again, we'll say that this is not a fire suppression system. I'll get a few questions about stirrers now and then, and about the front of the roaster and bearings and so forth. The stirrers on this roaster right here, we don't use brushes. I've had a lot of my fingers poked a lot of times on the brushes in the roasters. What we use, our stirrers are all made out of stainless steel, and they're designed so that they're pretty well and will never have to be replaced. Being stainless steel and the stainless steel screen, they're going to last very well, not going to give us any problems with the need to be replaced or cleaned frequently. This screen right here on this roaster probably had about, I would say, 20-25 different roasts run through it, showing customers and testing out the machine for various people. And it's never been cleaned. Generally it's a wire brush, a small brass brush, or steel bristle brush. Occasionally rubbed across, so we'll keep it clean. We use a fairly simple design on the roaster bearings on the front of the roaster. The bearings on the back of them are sealed, and also we have a packing back there, keeps in the grease when we get back on the roasting drum. Use a nice full size view of sight glass on the roaster. The speed, as a matter of fact, on the roasting drum is controllable on this model. 35 and above it's included. On the smaller roasters, it's an optional, but you can control the speed on your drum. Of course, if you so desire, you can control the speed on the stirrers. Can also be a speed control option. Normally, they are not included. To adjust the bearing on the roaster, simply loosen up this back nut right here and adjust the roasting drum both forward and back. The roaster does have a recessed front face for the drum to run into, so it's practically impossible to get any bean droppage out of the roaster once it's been set up properly. We're using a nice angled in stirrer. Excuse me. Some customers at times request that On the bean checker, there'd have a wood handle on it, which is fine. You see right here we can get wood handle. On it would be quite simple. It'd be a nice, easy to check the amount of beans on the roaster for samples. This contraption right here, a little cover, so you can open that up occasionally and check the back in the back, and you notice how much buildups in the back of your fan, which makes the roaster easy to clean. The fans on these roasters are all pretty well being converted over, was the fan motor just bolts to the back of the fan housing. It makes it real easy to clean out the fans. The cooler fan, of course, is very easy to get to. Not much cleaning there. People also ask fairly frequently what type of maintenance required in the roasters, except for cleaning the chafe collector, which is recommended every 20 roasts or twice a day. Also recommend sweeping up underneath the cooler here daily or weekly as needed. But pretty much only lubrication points right here, 1 squirt of grease every 20 to 40 hours of operation, food grade, high temperature. Occasionally you might take some of that grease like right here. We got a little bit of grease in front of this one being lubricated. You have a brass bushing right here on the stir. I rub a little bit on that. If you ever think about it, every year or two you might put a drop or two of Never-Seez, or if you don't have Never-Seez, some oil on the back drive to drive the drum. These are high precision shafting. They're not just a piece of rod. It's actually machine shafting. It's designed for driving stuff, so you won't have any problems or need for chains or belts or other types of maintenance issues on the roaster. We're sitting here now. Our little profile here I'd set up. We're at 396 degrees. We're still shooting for a 320. Everything's running fine. We're running about 10 degrees, a little bit warmer than what we would like to be. Control will take care of that for us. Check our beans again here. Possibly need a little color. I'm just kind of shooting for a little nice, decent little roast. Like I say, these are not quality beans. I'm going to show you inside the control cabinet. Javier, you pop that cabinet open for me, please, sir? Well, Javier, a good hand. Takes care of things for us. Probably should have put Paul in the video. A lot of you guys talk to him, and also Mark, there's a couple of our engineers on this. But I'm just giving him the best shot, being old Dan here. This is the PLC system on the roasters. Generally, the standard one is a Koyo. We're also trained and versed in Allen Bradley. This is quite a bit more expensive. As far as more reliable, I don't think so. Had very good luck with these. You see on the roaster too, we got our controls there for our control valves on the burner, so they modulate. You also right here, we're talking about the drum speed. Right here, I can turn the drum speed faster or slower if desired for the roaster. The exhaust blower right now is running about 30%, which would be a 30 hertz from a 60 hertz system. Right here, the different trips and stuff. I don't want to interfere with my profile roast, but if we had a trip show up on the screen, I simply come over here and flip this switch back and restart it. Then I could look at the motor voltage, which would be with the roaster. And it comes with schematics, and it's a UL listed. A panel, by the way, it will be UL. Generally, you can actually flip this little panel cover right here, and you can turn up the rating. It's a little bit on each motor, which will allow you to go and get by, and maybe clean the motor, check for why it's tripping on you, and then make the decision if it be replaced or not. Everything's still safety fused on the roaster also. Yeah. Over here is how you adjust your different air cylinders on the roaster, and they're all adjusted for how much pressure. Generally, you need about 60-70 pounds to operate the roaster. Around here, you see the solenoid that's actually hooked up for the roaster quench. Some people will never use the quench feature. You can turn it on or off, but what it will do is you put a little mist of water on the roast to help take it out of the high temperature. Otherwise, drop them, say, 420 to about 370. And I have with a good moisture meter, I've never been able to detect any moisture use such a small amount of quench. And what it does, it pretty well eliminates your cooler smoke, which we'll be able to demonstrate here in just a minute. Notice our green light's still flashing. Everything's still good. Our set point temperature now is set for 407. Our bean temperature is 409. We're still running within a couple degrees where we ought to be. Now we have a charge. Everything here is starting to get all happy. We're falling where we ought to be. Cyclone's running about 350, which is about normal. Gas valve is going to zero now. Due to the fact we're just about to reach our final temperature, and the PLC's decided we just about got enough heat. This screen here will tell you actually what's going on with the gas valve versus what the profile is telling you what the gas valve should be. That is a maximum setting. The profile also, this could all be done in a learn mode. And I can just run a roast to the manual screen, then save it to a profile. This thing is just doing well here. We're right about 14 minutes into our roast. We're shooting for, I believe it's about a 15-minute roast, so they're coming along good. A couple of the features we can talk to you about. And cover, adjustability. We'll talk about a little blower hopper over here. This blower hopper on here, we'll have a picture of one too. Some people, this is kind of cantankerous to have to set it up with the hopper on the floor and have this system up here also. What we can do with the roaster is just put a vacuum motor on the very top of it and you just have a hose. You use a hose that's sticking to a bucket to actually be able to suck the coffee up into the roaster as needed. On the stoners, like we said also, those will be speed controlled. Well, down here on the bottom is a latch down here where you can adjust the destoner to drop out any pebbles that fall on the bottom. Also, there's a magnet in the destoner which is used to catch any nails or whatever that might be in the coffee. I've been using some pretty rough coffee in here. It hadn't been much problem to find some grit and dirt in the coffee. It's running well. .413 on roast temperature. 414, we're about done on that roast. A few more seconds. Finish. Sight glass and see our bean development is. There we go. Not a bad looking roast for some pretty inexpensive coffee. Something pretty well given to me. Oh, I ought to mention this too. Doesn't hurt to put about once a year a little drop of oil on the end of those shafts or a drop of grease on the cylinders to allow those to keep operating well. The stoner, I probably wouldn't clean it out very often. You might do it once a year. Just pretty well check it out and see what's going on with the stoner. Check the webbing inside of it and the mat to make sure that the stoner's not having any problems. Okay. Right now we're hearing an alarm in the bucket. Our roast is approaching discharge temperature. If you'd like to continue roasting, please place aboard roast, which would mean we could take over the roast. We decide it wasn't quite done, or we could go on. Or we just otherwise put us OK, or leave it alone. It'll go and continue out. I'm going to hit OK. Right now, so we're 418. We're just about done. Shoot for a 420 drop. We've had our alarm now. That pretty well means to stand clear of the roaster. Notice all the lights are flashing on the discharge lights. It's telling us that the roaster is getting ready to start a semi-automatic operation and to stand clear. This one here's our first roast of the profile. Let's fire this thing up. There's pretty good smoke there going out the back window if you can catch that. I heard a click. That's the water quench kicking in. Third start, dropping the beans out. Nothing done by hand here. Just 20 pounds. A little small roast, just kind of do a little demonstration here. This roaster right here is 35 kilos. It'll do up to 77 pounds. Notice the lack of smoke from the fan coming out of the chafe collector. That was mainly due to that 3-second little purge through our 1 gallon per minute valve. Without calculating that real fast in my head, it's equivalent to probably around 6 to 9 ounces of water, which of course the drum, I'm sure, took care of most of that. The coffee now is probably almost getting cool enough I can hold my hand. Yes, it is almost already. Notice the drum automatically closed. Still in our cooling mode. Now the burner will turn off on the roaster while the drum is open. That's just a feature we done years ago to make sure that we don't have an open drum and we're bypassing the airflow and allowing the drum to serve to get hot but not having proper airflow to the drum. We'll try to keep everything nice and even, so the drum does need to be closed on any roast I've ever seen after you've done. No PLC trips or anything. Also, we have it back in here. Not going to run this thing today to get a peek at it. Back over in here, we've got one of our 70-90 kilo roasters. Notice this roaster right here has a power burner and a side-powered box on it. Get a peek at the burner, you see it back in there. One of our Afterburners right there under construction. This heard the stoner kick on, I believe. Ain't gonna finish up or not. Can't remember how long of a cool cycle I put on it, dude, but it'll start all by itself when it's done. Actually, the roaster, we chose to turn the roaster off now. We'll go ahead and finish this cycle and go in a cool down mode, and it will wait till its temperature. Right now it's set for 200 degrees, and then shut the roaster off. Ice cold now for this very small roast. The roast is back up to it, ready for its next drop. If we wanted to go give it one, waiting on profile, which or not. Waiting on this cooler to finish up. We may get back to another screen or two. Go back to the manual screen here, just to show you a couple other features we got in here. Here's the drum points if you ever want to use that on manual. A few things we're going to go back over from it. Right there, it says there's the stoner on it. Meanwhile, as you see, I could have been doing another roast, or another manual roast, or whatever. Now, all these times are settable by the operator to be used in the profile. Now, the automatic cooler only works with the profile. For small additional cost, different things could be set up in the program to meet your needs. Going on. It only takes a 20-pound roast like this OJ takes somewhere around about 20 minutes. Excuse me, about 2 minutes. Generally on a full 70-pound roast takes around 6-7 minutes. You can just stone faster. It all depends on the quality of the beans you're trying to get out of the roast. We got any beans showing up? Right here, the actual beans falling into the stoner. I don't think we'll pick up on the camera very good or not. Starting to hear that the stoner pretty well being finished there. This right here will reach the end of the time here in a second. We'll hear it cut off and we'll take a look at those beans. Anyway, we're going to go to resetting. Back here. Components, roaster settings. Right here's what we're talking about. Here's the auto door. That's set for 100 seconds. Here's the stoner delay in a full cycle. So what should go on this thing right here is that the cooler should cool for 150 seconds. Then the stoner's going to turn on for 150 seconds. Right here's the cool down temp I was talking about earlier. There's the drum temp, and that's becoming familiar. Default quench. Cyclone, too hard. That's pre-discharge is 3 degrees. this was going to warn me. My warning light starts at 10. Just then you heard the destoner stop. Right now, like on the roaster, there's a lot more settings. A lot of it's probably be best done in person, where we can get into a lot more different settings, controls the roasters. A lot of the settings can be set up to be maintenance modes for troubleshooting and operating individual parts of the roaster without going through all the safeties for testing. You know, like to turn this roaster off for the night, I just hit the roaster off button, it goes into cooling mode, and it'll continue with the fan on and the drum turning until it gets down to 200 degrees. Javier, got something we get a little bit of coffee in? Put a little bit of coffee into that bucket, would you? Let's take a look at some of this stuff here. See how good it looks. There you go. It's right here, just fresh out of the destoner right here. We had a green bean in there, which is from a previous testing we've been doing with it and junk. We're getting good color and or not so much color on this roast. This is cheap stuff, but we're getting a real good. And see, I'm sure you can tell here, we're not getting a lot of brokens in our coffee. The destoner also going to be set up so these little green beans and stuff, which were probably left in the destoner from last time it was used, those can be taken out. As a matter of fact, yeah, Marcus had run the destoner earlier. Kind of messing us up. Go ahead and dump that one. Put a bigger bucket here somewhere. We get down to some of the coffee we just now was doing. See how this looks. We get that junk out of there. I didn't look very impressed. I'd forgot Marcus had been playing with it. Go and open it up good. There you go. You see the coffee color change and all that junk. You know, leave it open, Javier. More out of there. Where I was just done, I didn't really realize he had left some anything. I'll turn it off. There you go. This is more like the type of destoning that we get. There's not a lot of brokens or anything in there. It's all adjustable. I'm sorry when the guy had been playing for earlier. I didn't catch that. Anyway, not much time for more videos. Not much time for more patience from you kind folks. I appreciate you taking a look at a roaster here and learn a little bit about how our operation works. All this is made here in Oklahoma City. The roaster does have a heavy gauge stainless steel drum. And of course, we could put a steel drum in there if you so desired, but I always ask why. Anyway, thank you very much.